What's good, everybody? It's your boy D Nice with I2G Radio, back at it with another Las Vegas Raiders podcast. Urge everyone to like, comment, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. I2G Radio, 2 words, letter I, number 2, letter G, radio. You can also check this out on the Viva Las Raiders podcast on YouTube. Viva Las Raiders podcast. All right, let's get right into it. So I wanted to do a little pod here about the youth movement that I would like to see the Raiders have moving forward. And for a lot of fans and a lot of people, they may take the thumbnail or see this and think, well, that means rebuild. Doesn't mean rebuild. It's just, I think at this point in the season, you can kind of evaluate and see where your rookie class is at. Some of your second, third year players possibly need to draft in that same position next year to try and upgrade it. It's all about getting the team better. And, that was a tough loss for a lot of Raider fans last week, and just wanted to talk about this briefly before I get into the players on offense and defensive side for the Raiders. I would like to see get more playing time. That was a tough loss against the Colts. I see a lot of people are wanting to jump ship. They're wanting to fire everyone like we always do. It's a process. And like I've said many times, I'm a 4-decade-long Raiders fan. Win, lose, or tie, Raider Nation till I die. It's not just a saying, it's a way of life for me as far as being a Raiders fan. So regardless, if they win 8 in a row or they lose 8 in a row, I'm still going to be a fan, but you've got to trust the process. And, Pete Carroll has a 3-year contract, option for 4. I've heard some people say this, and it's very true, you have a lot of amalgamation of a lot of players from a lot of different regimes, whether it's Josh McDaniels, whether it's players that Tom Telesco has drafted. There's even a few players left from when John Gruden was here. The ones that were drafted by Gruden are pretty much your mainstays, your Max Crosby's, your AJ Cole's, your Daniel Carlson's. Those are all guys that were brought in by Gruden or drafted by Gruden. So in that sense, you don't have too many left of those, but you have a large amount of players that were drafted by Josh McDaniels. And I don't want to, like some content creators want to constantly throw in your face how bad Josh McDaniels was. Me even bringing him up has nothing to do with that. All I'm saying is that he drafted basically two seasons worth of players that are still on this team. And you need to evaluate and decide what you're doing with these players. You're moving forward with them, or if you need to move in a different direction and try something different now that Pete Carroll is the coach here. But let's get right into it. So offensively, I'll kind of do it position by position, but it'll just be players that I would like to see get more playing time, or I think that can contribute. So on the offensive line, Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant. Kind of be interesting to see where the Raiders go moving forward. Last week, Stone Forsythe played. As everyone knows, Colton Miller has the high ankle sprain and the fracture of his ankle. So he's going to be back no time soon. He's on short-term IR for 4 weeks, maybe longer than that. But as of right now, Stone Forsythe is the starting left tackle. And just from my eyes, and again, these the views expressed here are of I2G Radio. I'm not a coach or anything like that, so I'm just giving my 2 cents. That's all. I thought he played decent. Colton Miller is a fringe Pro Bowl left tackle, so you're obviously not going to get that same play. They did have a tight end like we talked about in the post-game and pre-game against the Colts to help and assist at times with chipping and blocking on the left side for Forsythe, and I see that moving forward if he's going to play a lot of snaps. But at any point, it feels things are going off the rails. There's no protection for Geno on his blind side. I would like to see what the Raiders have in Charles Grant, who was drafted in the 3rd round from William and Mary. He's kind of was projected anyway to either be the heir apparent to Colton Miller, or if contract talks with Colton Miller had fizzled, there was a possibility of him even starting in that position with Colton Miller being gone. Obviously, now with him signing that, basically be here for another 3 years, now you can decide, what do we have in Charles Grant? If he plays well, you've got a good depth piece. And then when Colton Miller decides if he wants to retire or anything, any injuries happen, you've got a plug and play starter there that is behind Colton Miller, and you're confident in that in Charles Grant. So I'd like to see that moving forward. Caleb Rogers as well. I know the offensive line is kind of starting to settle in now. JPJ at guard, Jordan Meredith. Jordan Meredith's had a really tough time at center so far. A lot of people are saying it's kind of deja vu. Kind of feels like it's Andre James all over again. Be interesting to see, if he continues to struggle, if they do move Jackson Powers Johnson to center. But I would like to see, Caleb Rogers get some snaps there at guard. Dylan Parham is a free agent after this season. I'm not confident that he'll be re-signed, but he could have a strong middle to second half of the season, and things could change. But I'd like to see him in a couple packages. Kind of take a look and see what you have there. Moving to wide receiver, Jack Besh got more snaps in the game against the Colts than Dante Thornton. Dante Thornton's having a hard time right now with separating. Kind of reminds me of a guy that Raiders had, speed guy, completely different measurables, shorter, but just as fast, and Henry Ruggs. It took DC, Derek Carr, and Ruggs a little bit of time to really get their timing down, and unfortunately, not going to get into details. It's common knowledge. You can Google it at this point. After the accident and tragic accident that happened here, obviously that all went away for the Raiders. But point being, just bringing the two, that was his kind of DC's kill switch. At any point given time on the field, he knew that he could throw to Ruggs and get that big play or even that touchdown on it. And there's the short time that they played together, there's many plays, and that almost 62-yard bomb against the Steelers. Bottom line, with Geno and Dante Thornton, that connection just has not been there. A crucial drop against I want to say that was the Bears game, where Dante Thornton, it was a simple walk-in touchdown, just the timing, and it was a little behind Thornton, but I'm sure if you asked him, he said, I have to catch that. Now moving forward, I think Jack Besh is kind of more that all-around wide receiver that can assist and help in the short passing game as well as the red zone for Geno. Great blocker as well. I think if things move forward, and really I haven't heard anything on the Jakobi Meyers front, I don't see the Raiders at this point offering him a contract, or they may have just said, hey, we will come back to the table maybe mid-season or the end of the season. But if the season continues to keep going the way it's going here, Raiders might want to trade Jakobi Meyers and get some type of draft capital if they have no intentions of trading him. And I want to say this now before people are in the comments or are saying, oh, you want him traded and you said earlier you wanted him. I want Jakobi Meyers on the Raiders, regardless of how everything plays out. He's a good young veteran wide receiver. You can still have a Myers, a Besh, a Thornton, a Tucker, but I also understand and get that, the price needs to be right. And again, if you're going youth movement, it may not make a lot of sense. But if you're not going to re-sign him, Jack Bech needs more snaps. And if that's at the expense right now of Dante Thornton because of how he's currently playing, then it is what it is. But I think he's a good young wide receiver. Like to see him get more snaps, see what the guy can do out there. But that's for the wide receiver room and the offensive line offensively. Really no other players that really stick out to me that were drafted where I'm like, okay, would like to see. But defensively, I have a few more. But before we get into that, wanted to talk more about the partner on the site here, Two Kings Marketing. Two Kings Marketing, especially for people trying to find reliable music promotion, is hard work. That's why you should rely on 2kings.online for your music promotion needs. They've worked with people from the West Coast, from Hobson to Shine Poe in New York on the East Coast. Their services include but are not limited to social media management, graphic design, press write-ups, social media design, website design, publicity, artist development, artist management, major label contract negotiations, album inlay design, independent music distribution, album marketing, producer placements, SMS blasts, advertisement placement, radio promotions. Check them out today at 2kings.online. That's the number 2, the word kings with an S .online for a consultation, or email them at CEO@2kings.online for a one-on-one session as to what they can do for you. All right, let's get on and talk now about the defensive side of the ball. But before that, where are my manners?
Touchdown, Raiders!
All right, so now we'll talk about the defensive side of the ball. Just some drafted players, young players I would like to see get some more playing time. We'll start on the defensive line. I have said this since drafted. I really don't feel that we've had. Let me rephrase that. I would like to see Tyree Wilson get some more snaps. I know a lot of people are completely fed up and think he's a bust and he's not worthy of more snaps. To each their own. For me, I think Tyree Wilson can definitely be at the very least a rotational piece or a solid starter. Is he going to put up Joey Bosa or Trey Hendrickson type numbers? Probably not. He currently has 2 sacks, and I believe he's gone now 2 games without a sack. But the Raiders as a whole, that entire defensive line, has been shoddy at best in getting consistent pressure on the quarterback. Malcolm Kuntz has had a couple games here and there, but he was completely shut out in the game against the Colts. The entire D-line was. I don't think Daniel Jones even had a quarterback hit. Completely clean the entire game. But I would like to see Tyree Wilson get a few more snaps. Definitely on the inside a little bit more. I think a lot of that is, as Malcolm Kuntz is kind of rounding into form. They've kind of had him more on the defensive end, more kind of as a complementary or a sub-end piece. Either way, and something that a lot of people do not talk about, Malcolm Kuntz and Tyree Wilson, when you play them side by side, especially when Antonio Pierce took over for Josh McDaniels, they were able to, when you played them, Tyree on the inside, Kuntz on the outside, a lot more pressure on the quarterback, and especially in passing downs and NASCAR packages. I'm hoping they can get that rhythm going, especially against Tennessee. You've got a mobile quarterback in Cam Ward, and we will talk about this on the Titans-Raiders preview. We'll be doing that here shortly after I finish this. We'll get into as well the Pete Carroll presser that just happened about 20-30 minutes ago. But Tyree Wilson on the defensive line, Brandon Jackson, I was going to add to this list as well, but fortunately he's on the IR with a foot injury. So now moving to the linebacker position, two guys, and with the release of Jermaine Pratt earlier in the week, Cody Lindenberg and Tommy Eichenberg. In an ideal world, you would like to see Tommy Eichenberg be the green dot for this defense. Landon Roberts has been also as well. It's been kind of up and down. Has been solid against the run, but coverage has been tough. Eichenberg has kind of almost matched him in snaps, or has more snaps, if I'm not mistaken, at this point. Might as well go ahead and move forward and see what you have with him. And I think your three kind of linebackers, if you're playing a 4-3 base, should then be Eichenberg as your green dot. Jamal Adams now will get. I'm sure Jamal Adams now will play the entire game, which I don't think is a bad thing at this point. And Devin White. A lot of people are complaining about Devin White in coverage, but if you're doing that, you probably don't watch a lot of football, and it's not a diss, but you knew when you brought Devin White in, you're not bringing him in as a coverage linebacker. But I think with Adams and Eichenberg, if you have them starting, or even Cody Lindenberg, you can have him in there as well, a guy drafted by Pete Carroll, and kind of have that rotation, or even have those four guys in if you want to go with the 3-4 base. I think you're going to see some better results, better overall coverage with that room, and kind of allow Devin White and Jamal Adams kind of pin their ears back and get to the quarterback or be downhill to attack the run. But I would like to see more moving forward, especially from Eichenberg and Cody Lindenberg there at the linebacker position. Now let's move to the secondary. Darian Porter is playing much, much better here the last couple of games. Caillou Blue Kelly right now is really getting picked on by a lot of teams. He gives up the most yards of any cornerback currently in the NFL. So I would like to see moving forward more snaps for Darian Porter. That's already kind of been in place of everyone that I've talked about so far that I would like to see get more playing time. Darian Porter's already getting it. So continue to allow the that young pup to develop over there on that side, and Eric Stokes on the opposite side as well. He's back and will play on Sunday. Excuse me. As far as the safety room, I don't know if this is something that the player is on the roster, but Isaiah Polamau, I would like to see kind of play more in the box, even possibly kind of back up Jeremy Chin, but try him in the nickel. In the free safety position, he's another guy too who's getting picked on, especially in the red zone. And it's really tough for him. And that's a tough conversion from being a box or a strong safety to a free safety. Chris Smith has kind of played sparingly, kind of more in special teams. Again, so I don't know if the answer is in the building for that. That should be a point of emphasis in the draft. Maybe in the first 4 rounds to get ball hawking, a good center fielder on this team, especially when you're playing single high safety, which they play a lot of cover 3 single high safety on this team. And that's going to leave a lot of situations where Polamau is going to have to make a play. He has made some plays, has had some pass breakups, but again, it's been a little up and down there in the free safety room. So again, I'm not saying with these moves it's going to make the Raiders flip their 1-4 record to 4-1 moving forward in the next 5 games or anything like that. But I think we're at a crucial point in the season. You've had some vets that have also been released. You've had some injuries. I just think moving forward, there's opportunities for players to get some more playing time and to really see what you have. If you want to decide moving forward, if you want to go the free agency route to fill some of those needs, you can, but at least you have a clear and concise plan moving forward on what you want to do with this roster. Again, the site, www.illuminati2g.com, for all of your hip-hop needs and Raiders news and notes. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, i2G Radio, and also this will be on our YouTube channel, Viva Las Raiders. Viva Las Raiders with an S. It's all the pods that we have on here, just in YouTube form. Urge everyone also to like, comment, and subscribe to that as well. But D-Nice, i2G Radio signing off. It sounded so good the first time. I'm going to go out again with it.
Touchdown, Raiders!
See if they can get this dub against the Titans.